That was a big assault on my organization. Tommy got in over his head. It seems now so have you.
Move that weight and keep your mouth shut. Nobody knows I'm breathing.
Mrs. St. Patrick, we're looking into the whereabouts of Terry Silva.
I want half of everything.
I want you to stay away from Tasha. If your ship is going down, I ain't going down with it.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Teflon John coming to you courtesy of Teflon TV Reviews. And on this channel, we review your popular TV shows and movies. And today we're going to continue our conversation with Power. We're talking about Power Season 6, Episode 2, right? And this episode is entitled, Whose Side Are You On? And all that comes down with the whole war between Ghost and Tommy. You see a lot of, TV commercials. You see a lot of media and a lot of marketing where they're pressing, to get you to choose sides, right? And so I got some show notes. I hope you enjoyed Episode 1 recap and review. But by the time I got that up, it's a little late. So today, we're going straight into it the day after Episode 2 releases. And so the episode starts off with Ghost goes back to the spot where he shot up Tommy's car. You know what I'm saying? And that car had been in the season. That car is almost like a character. Tommy loved that car. And at this point, he's kind of mourning at that spot because he honestly thinks he killed Tommy, right? And then from that point, he goes in and talk to Jason about, I really don't want war, but I had to kill Tommy. We had a personal thing going on. And so Jason is, playing along with the whole thing that Tommy's dead, right? And Jason, Ghost offers offers Jason some money for Tommy's death. And Jason's like, nah, that's not enough. I tell you what, you're going to give me $100,000 every 2 weeks, in order for me not to kill you. So, of course, Ghost agrees with that, right? And then we get down to, they show Tariq where he's actually moving pills, moving products. So you're really seeing, Tariq that graduated from the actual school of Canaan is actually moving product in school. And he's really starting to do, some things that Canaan has taught him. You can really see his demeanor's changing. You can really see where he's coming into like the Canaan and Ghost type character all rolled up in one, right? And then we go to where, Ghost goes to Proctor's house and tells him, hey, I killed Tommy, but I need an alibi. And Proctor's like, no, because, the district attorney, the new guy, Mr. Warner, came to my daughter's recital, so they know I was there. I can't alibi you, right? So then they begin to talking. Proctor tries to tell him to use Tasha, and he was like, no, Tasha's out the picture. So then he was like, yo, while you at it, you better not be thinking about going to Angela's funeral. And at this point, Ghost is a little emotional. He's like, no, I'm going. So Proctor was trying to convince him to take Tasha to the funeral. So that way it looks more like a united front. No one's guilty. And so during this conversation, there's a knock on Proctor's door, right? And he served a subpoena for a child custody hearing between him and his wife, which I think would be a vital key part to this episode, right? And so when we leave from there, Tommy goes back to his crew, right? So Tommy's going back to his crew to tell his crew, look, I'm supposed to be dead. Somebody tried to kill me. Look, don't worry about it. We got it on lock. Just keep moving the product, but don't worry about, telling people that I'm still alive. It's just very important that they continue to think that I'm dead. And we see what I think would be a key argument between Grim, which is Ghost number 2 guy, like his bodyguard, the whole entire 6 seasons of Power, and 2-Bits, where I think 2-Bits wants to step up and be that number 2 or be that go-to guy for Tommy. And so they kind of get into a little spat. And Tommy's like, nah, I got it. Grim, take me to where I need to go, right? And so from there, Blanca and Donovan, right, goes to Tasha's apartment to question her about Terry Silva. And at this point, you can see where Donovan's kind of like very irritated with Blanca because he wants to, I guess everybody's been getting in trouble for going up beyond what they're supposed to be doing, going beyond protocol and getting in trouble. So he's like, look, man, just do what we asked, do what we were asked to do, and that's it. And so at this point, they build a task force to go after to solve Angela's murder, right? So like I said, Donovan's just going along with Blanca, and then Blanca begins to ask Tasha questions about, Angela Valdez's murder and this and that. And then it gets cut short. But the ultimate thing was with that conversation was Tasha said, she seen him before they went to this, before he went back to his hotel, before he was reported missing, right? And then from here it cuts to a scene where Paz is in Angela's office at work, and she's trying to get her personal belongings, and Cooper Sacks comes in And he just begins to tell her, like, you know, you can't take certain things or whatever. Then he begins to tell her that that Angela's death benefits from her job of being held up by HR because her ties to Ghost, her ties to actual Jamie. And so from this point, I think Paz begins to think about, you know, she turned down Jamie's offer in episode 1 for him to pay for the funeral. So now she doesn't know how to do it. And then Cooper Saxe also asks her, like, if you find anything in her personal belongings that might help us with this case, please forward it along. So then we cut from there to Ghost and Tasha. They're having their first divorce arbitration. And during this, Tasha says, do not call me Miss St. Patrick. Call me by my original last name, which is Green, right? And then her lawyer, I guess is like a mediator. The mediator tells Tasha, you know, that in your prenuptial agreement, you know, it's said that if you initiate a divorce, you don't get anything. So when they come out of there, you know, her and Ghost are kind of arguing and they're going in at it. And she's just like, yo, I need money for the kids. And he's like, yo, I'll have everything straight for you for the kids. But right now, I got to pay the Serbians, which are Jason, you know, a lot of money every 2 weeks. And it's kind of draining me right now. And so he asks her, yo, can you go to Angela's funeral with me? And she's like, yo, really? You really going to throw this up at me now? And then they get to arguing. And so they end the conversation where she's trying to find out, you know, where Tommy is. She's like, look, I know you're all at it, but don't do anything to Tommy because it'll hurt the kids. It'll hurt Tariq. They've been through so much already. And he agrees. At this point, Tasha did not know that Tommy was supposed to have been dead. He didn't know. She didn't know because Ghost did not tell her. So then we cut from that scene, right, to see where we at now in the notes. Then we cut from that scene to Cooper Saxe, right, talking to Proctor's wife. Cooper Saxe is a dirty dude, man. So Cooper Saxe wants Proctor's wife to place a bug in Proctor's apartment. And she's just like, no, like, you know, I'm not doing that. And then what she does is she asks him, look, I need a job. So if you can give me a job, I'm thinking about doing it. And through that, we cut to another scene where Tommy and LaKeisha, so he's just trying to explain his situation with Ghost to LaKeisha, like, yo, I don't know if I can kill him right now because that'll be doing something to, you know, to Tasha that they're not ready for. Keisha's like, yo, they weren't thinking about that when they was trying to kill you and how that would affect me and Cash, me and my son. And he was like, yo, you got a point. And then someone knocks on the door. Keisha starts freaking out. Like I said, I don't really think she's ready to be Tommy's ride or die, man. She's freaking out. She thinks it's the police. Then from this point, sends Cash to his room. She goes to the door, and it's Tasha. And so Tasha, you can tell by that look on her face, she wants to try to find Tommy because she thinks that Ghost did something to Tommy. So LaKeisha opens the door all the way, and she can see him. And then she's like, yo, bye. I told you don't come by here. And she shuts the door in her face. So, you know, Keisha's telling Tommy, yo, we are done with the St. Patrick's. We're done with them. You know, do not, you know, continue to have conversation with them, right? And then from that point, we see where, you know, where Paz is going through Angela's personal belongings. It cuts to that scene, and she finds that burner cell phone that Angela had gave Tasha so they can communicate. So she's texting the number, thinking that it's Ghost, saying, yo, we need to meet. And I think she wants to ask about the whole funeral thing. So Tasha texts back. She doesn't say who she is. She just texts back saying, yo, let's go ahead and meet, right? And so, and then it cuts from there to Proctor and his wife having their custody hearing. And Proctor's wife, evidently Cooper Saxe, looked out for her. She's got a job at a attorney's office. And then they cut back to where the judge wants to talk to the daughter for herself. And I think this is a very key moment in this episode. So, you know what I'm saying? Proctor, if you notice through all the scenes and all the episodes, he's very fragile with his daughter, very caring. So he was like, look, let's not do this to her. You know, we're making her choose or whatever. Let's just leave the room and let her choose by herself. And the judge is like, no. And so the daughter doesn't want him to leave also. And so the mother says something like, hey, like, you know, remember we used to have fun painting our nails. Then the daughter starts crying. So that's when Proctor breaks and says, yes, we'll share custody. And I think this is going to be a crucial decision by Proctor that may make or break them, right? And then from there, it goes to the scene where Tasha shows up to meet Paz. And Paz is like, yo, you're Jamie's, you know, your Ghost's wife. She's like, yeah. And then they get to talking. She's like, yo, I thought this was, you know, Jamie. She's like, no, me and Angela had an agreement. Because Paz is under the impression that they set up Angela so Angela can die or whatever. So Tasha just explained to her, like, no, like, we all were going down. None of us were going to flip, but this was our way of covering one another, so nobody went to jail. And so Paz is like, yo, if you don't tell me what's going on, I'm going to take this phone, you know, I'm going to turn it in and tell on all you guys. And Tasha being smart, you know, you're really seeing how witty Tasha is this season, because she's telling them, like, yo, she's telling Paz, no, don't worry about that, because I'll turn in this phone. I got every text, every voicemail, every phone call that Angela gave me. So it, you know, her reputation will go down the drain along with us. So then Paz kind of sits back and they kind of walk away from each other. Then Blanca comes up and meets Tasha, telling Tasha, like, yo, the last time you and Terry Silver were together, both of your cell phones pinged off the tower near his house. And now they're starting to heat up with that. And Tasha admits to her, like, look, we were sleeping together. I didn't want anybody else to know. So then Blanca asks the question, well, by you doing that, who else would want to do harm to him, or who would want to see him gone? You know, kind of inferring the ghost. And then it cuts away from that. So then we get to the point where Congressman Tate is having his speech, right? So Congressman Tate is giving his speech for governor, but he's using Truth. He's using Ghost Club. During this speech, we got, you know what I'm saying, some guy from the neighborhood that knew Ghost. And he's bringing up all this stuff about how Ghost was a corner boy, Ghost was selling drugs, this and that. And you had a couple other people to ask questions about Angela Valdez's death and what, you know, was James St. Patrick's role in this case. But Tate uses this as an opportunity. Now, he's not happy. So Ghost cuts in, and he kind of clears up. You know how Ghost is, smart thing. He clears up the room. After the speech, Tate is very upset. It was like, Ghost, I told you, none of your distractions during this campaign, because I really need this to actually go down. So then from there, you know, we cut to a scene where Tommy's about to kill Ghost. You know, Tommy's got the drop on him. Ghost doesn't see him. All of a sudden, Tommy gets kidnapped, but it's by Jason's men. So Tommy is sat down. They take the bag off his head, and he's like, yo, Jason, what's going on? Like, I had the drop on Ghost. I was going to kill him. And Jason's like, no, because you can't kill him right now. It's going to bring a lot of heat back to our organization. The cops would be out on us. Ghost is better alive right now than dead. Tommy started explaining to him, like, yo, if we don't kill him now, like, he's going to catch me. And then, you know, Jason being the guy that he is, which we're going to talk about this on another episode. But Jason tells Tommy, like, I can offer you extra protection for a fee. So at this point, he's making extra money off Ghost, you know what I'm saying, for not killing Tommy. And he's making extra money off Tommy. So he's kind of playing them two, right? But he threatens Tommy, if you're ever late with any of my money for the shipments, I'm going to kill you myself, right? So then we get to the point where Tasha just shows up at Ghost's apartment. Well, there used to be a house. Shows up at the house, and she pretty much threatens him for money. Like, if you don't give me some money, I'm going to tell. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell the police everything that I know. So he agrees, right? So then a girl when Tariq started moving product through one of his friends, through one of his roommates at school, a girl got hip to what they were doing and was going to turn him in. So Tariq goes to meet this girl, right? And instead of Tariq being scared, you know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, you can work for me. I know you work at the bookstore, whatever. But basically, Tariq's using that game that Ghost and Kanan has to gain another foot soldier, right? And then we go back to where Tate is in his office talking to his campaign manager, but he brings the guy that knew Ghost in. And I think this is crucial. Like, so he brings this guy that was interrupting his speech about Ghost, brings him in and says, look, I'll pay you if you can help me find out what Ghost is up to, all his colleagues and people that he's dealt with in the neighborhood. So his campaign manager thinks he's crazy, and all of a sudden, man, this ruthless side of Congressman Tate that I think we've all been waiting to see his true character comes out, and he beats up the campaign manager. And then from that point, we got where Paz is going to view the body before her sister's funeral, and she realizes that she calls Cooper Sachs and realizes that the benefits are still up on hold, but somebody took care of something because there's a casket, the funeral's paid for. So then she realizes that Tasha actually paid for the actual funeral. But this is another key part, because with that cell phone, she put the cell phone in her sister's casket. she put it underneath the lining of the casket. So now she whispered, like, your secrets are safe, like they will be buried with you. And so I think that was a key piece of evidence that could have came back and burned Tommy, Ghost, Angela, and Tasha. So by that being gone, it seems like they're all in the clear from that point, right? And so then we get to the funeral scene, and everybody shows at the funeral. So you got all the police, you got all the detectives as far as the ones that work with Angela, and then shows up Ghost and Tasha. So you got, you know, Tamika, Cooper Sacks, Donovan, these guys are just shocked, Blanca, that they even showed up, right? So while they're there, you got to the point where Tommy shows up. And then, because this is one of the biggest lines of the whole thing, and Tommy walks up and goes to Paz and offers condolences after he killed her sister. And so from this point, Ghost is really like looking crazy because he's shocked. He thought Tommy was dead at this point, right? And so at this point, Tasha has this crazy smirk, and then Tommy walks off, nods at Tasha, gives Ghost a look. And as he turns away and walks, Ghost is like, yo, Tasha, did you know Tommy was alive? She was like, yep. So it's almost like where Ghost used to keep a lot of things in control, used to keep a lot of information from people, right? People are now keeping information from him. And so this is like a key turning point, right? And so at the end, you see where Proctor's wife gets their daughter for custody, and you can see her book bag, and she takes the unicorn that Cooper Sacks put the bug on, puts it on the book bag of the little girl. So now we run into the problem that once the girl goes home with Proctor, if Ghost and Proctor are talking about anything, it's going to be picked up, right? And then we end the episode with Tariq actually picking up that girl. She takes him up on his offer that she's going to start selling pills for him. And also Dre finds out on the news that Angela Valdez has been murdered. He doesn't know it's Tommy. He thinks it's the Jimenez, right? And so he's afraid because he has to testify the very next day. So I think this is a very key point too, because we also end the episode with Ghost going back to Jason, telling him, look, Tommy has to die, but I need to know if I kill him, it won't bring any war with me and you. And Jason's like, no, it won't, but you'll have to replace him as my distro unless you know somebody else. And I think that's somebody else. I think he's going to try to swindle in Dre into taking over that if he kills Tommy. So look, that was Power Season 6 Episode 2 recap. We're going to do a couple more videos on some theories and stuff. Please leave your comments. Please leave some comments down in the comment section to let me know what you think about the episodes and what are your thoughts and what are your theories. And do you think Tasha's doing a great job? Because to me, Tasha's coming off bold and witty this season. Like I said, leave your comments in there. Subscribe to this channel so you can get all my notifications. And as I always say, one love.